I'll do it in reverse.
You are now live, sir.
Thank you. For those of you who have seen this movie before, I'm calling the meeting to order. It is a little after 4 o'clock. It's a special meeting of the governing body, August 15, 2022. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance from Councilor Mayor Worth, salute to the New Mexico flag from Councilor Lindell, and an invocation led by Councilor Michael Garcia. Please rise.
That today we're having a special meeting in honor of our veterans banners. We felt it was appropriate to recite a prayer for all veterans. O God, great and almighty Creator, we thank and praise you for the freedom we enjoy in our country and pray that our liberties will continue to be protected. Thank you for America's heroes, what they have fought for, our freedoms, and who have faithfully served our country. We honor all our veterans for their sacrifices and for their courage and integrity. As we celebrate these freedoms, we ask your blessing on these veterans who made the ultimate sacrifice while defending our country. Bless their families and comfort them with the thankful prayers of a grateful nation. We thank you, our veterans, past and present. Through the efforts of these individuals, help us continue to promote justice in all nations. Amen.
Thank you, Counselor. Are there any remembrances at this time? Well, if not, let's follow Counselor Garcia's lead and just send our thoughts, prayers to the families of veterans who we are celebrating, and also to those who are stricken by continued pandemic, dealing with health issues. Let's wish them a chance to get back to health. Thanks, everybody. Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Mayor Weber,
Present.
Councilor Cassett. Here. I'll note Councilor Chavez is excused. Councilor Lee Garcia.
Here.
Councilor Michael Garcia.
Present.
Councilor Lindell. Here. Councilor Rivera.
Here.
Councilor Marwer.
Here.
Councilwoman Villarreal.
Present.
You have a quorum, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda, please?
So moved. Second.
There's a motion to approve the agenda, and there is a second. Madam Clerk, remind me what we're doing here.
You can do a voice.
We are doing a voice vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Could you then take us to item 7A, please, Madam Clerk?
Yes, absolutely. Item 7A is request for approval of a budget amendment resolution, a BAR, in the amount of $1,996,000 for the use of fiscal year 22, which is our prior year gross receipts tax revenue, earned over and above budgeted estimates to fund the remaining amount of the $3,096,000 professional service agreement previously approved pursuant to RFP 22-47-P for support of audit preparation and support services. And already at the podium is Mr. Ricky Bejarano.
Thank you. Before we see if there are questions for Mr. Bejarano, can I get a motion, please?
Move to approve.
Thank you, Counselor. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and we have a second. Vicki, do you want to just say a few words about what this is covering? We approved the proceed on the contract. We had to make up the missing piece of the contract amount, if I remember correctly.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, that's correct. The contract was approved contingent upon getting this budget action request through, It is for $1,996,000. The original budget was $1.1 million. So the request is for the council to approve the $1.996 million to bring it up to the full amount of the contract at $3,096,000.
Thank you. Are there questions for Mr. Bejarano? Yes, Counselor Lee Garcia. Thank you, sir.
Mayor, Mr. Bejarano, so initially, where was the money initially being funded, or was it being funded when we took a vote at governing body?
Mr. Mayor, Councilor Garcia, I'll defer to our budget director, Mr. Andy Hopkins.
Mr. Mayor, Councilor Garcia, $1.1 million of the funding was already in the budget in the general fund. When we received the notice that the caveat for the approval of the contract was in there, that we needed to approve a bar for the remainder, that's when we pulled in extra funding. Again, as noted in the committee meetings and previous council meeting, we do not anticipate spending this entire $3.96 million. That is a not to exceed amount. I anticipate, I think Mr. Bejarano will back me up on this, that we foresee spending a significant amount less. Exactly how much, it's impossible to say, but because that's the contract's not to exceed amount, that's what we are putting into the budget.
Thank you. So we didn't know that we needed this much as of the last time we discussed this item.
Mr. Mayor, Councilor Garcia, that's correct. What our original plan was to go with the 1.1 million, see how we went with the contract, and if we needed additional funding, we would come to the council for that additional amount. But because of the caveat that the conditional approval, we decided to go ahead and, at the council's direction, to go ahead and put in the remainder of the funding needed for this contract into the accounting budget. And this additional amount is basically the most of the rest of the GRT that was received in the general fund over and above our budgeted estimates for last year. So we built the budget based on a certain number. We had GRT coming in stronger than had been anticipated throughout the year, leading to a little bit of extra funding to work with. And the councilors will recall we have already used several tranches of that money for things like police vehicles, public works vehicles, additional work on critical roadways and arterials. And this is really just in that same line of programming money that we had not expected to receive last year, that came in better than we had expected at the beginning of last year.
So this money wasn't taken away from another project or anything else?
Mr. Mayor, Councilor Garcia, no. This was pure revenue in the general fund over and above what we expected and what we balanced the budget on. So it is not resulting in cuts anywhere else in the budget.
Thank you. What other questions?
Thank you. Other questions? Counselor Rivera.
Yeah, thank you, Andy. Just wondering why, since we're anticipating spending significantly amount less, why not wait till mid-year and have a better idea of exactly how much we're going to need to bar instead of the entire amount?
Mr. Mayor, Councilor Rivera, that was in fact our original plan, but because of the caveat of the approval of the contract being contingent on the entire budget being in there, we pretty much had no choice. We had to bar the money in for the entire not to exceed amount.
All right, I think this was sort of the argument that Councilor Lindell had, is if you put the entire amount in there, it almost encourages spending of the entire amount. So I guess I was hoping that we could have done it a little bit differently, but.
Counselor, the city attorney's hand's up. Maybe she can help.
Mayor Weber, Councilor Rivera, the entire amount was put in the contract. So whether or not we add to the budget or not, it's possible to spend that amount under the contract, which is why it's required to have that amount in the budget.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, other questions? Counselor Lindell?
Attorney McSherry, so I understand that the entire amount was in the contract. Could we not have done it year by year, just instead of the entire $3 million and change sitting there?
Mayor Weber, Councilor Lindell, we only did approve 1 year. I think the 4-year estimate was 12 million.
I'm asking, could we have done it a different way?
Mayor Weber, Councilor Lindell, yes. Could have done it for less or for less time or money, either one.
Thank you.
Other questions? Any other questions? Whoops, excuse me. All good? Madam Clerk, I think we're ready to call the roll on the item then.
Counselor Cassett? Yes. Counselor Lee Garcia?
Yes.
Counselor Michael Garcia?
Yes.
Counselor Lindell? Counselor Rivera?
No.
Counselor Marworth?
Yes.
Councilwoman Villarreal?
Yes.
Mayor Weber?
Yes.
Motion has been approved.
Thank you. Then we have item 7B, and it also has a subpart 1. If you could read that for us, and we'll take that up.
Yes. Item B is consideration of a resolution. It's sponsored by Councilor Michael Garcia, Councilor Rivera, Mayor Weber, Councilor Marworth, Councilor Chavez, Councilwoman Villarreal, Councilor Cassett, Councilor Lee Garcia, and Councilor Lindell. It's a resolution updating the terms of approval included in resolution numbers 2020-24 and 2022-9 to change the permitted locations of banners commemorating hometown heroes from the Cerrillos Road corridor to the rail yard, Guadalupe Street, and the greater downtown area. There's also an item B1, which is approval of an amendment to the resolution to expand the installation of the banners along all of Cerrillos Road and St. Francis Drive, in addition to the rail yard, Guadalupe Street, and the greater downtown area.
Madam City Attorney.
And Mayor Weber, Councilors, I think we can consider the main motion to be on the table already. We just postponed it 2 meetings now.
So we would need to take up the amendment first.
Mayor Weber, discussion would be appropriate, including the motion to amend. Yes.
Okay, why don't we entertain a motion to amend, and then we'll have discussion.
Motion to introduce the amendment, the Weber M. Garcia Rivera amendment.
Is there a second? There's a motion, and then there's a second, so, and the main motion, as the city attorney has said, was on the table previously.
And Mayor Weber, Councilors, just to clarify, the motion is to adopt the amendment, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
So I'm open to discussion of the motion for the amendment. Councilor Garcia, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And so I know this amendment has a lot of pieces to it, but I'll try to simplify it as much as possible. And so as we've been alluding in the past, our hopes were to have as much available poles throughout the city to hang the veterans' banners as possible. As folks are aware, last week, Governor Lujan Grisham allowed for the veterans' banners to be hung on the St. Francis corridor from basically I-25 up to Alamo Drive, up and right in front of the National Veterans Cemetery. What this amendment does, it incorporates that. It allows for the adoption of the prior approved location from Cerrillos to St. Michael's, and it also extends it throughout the state roadway, so it extends it through all the way to St. Francis. So you're going to have all the way on Cerrillos from I-25 to St. Francis, and it also includes the location we discussed earlier this summer, which is the rail yard district, the Guadalupe area, and the greater downtown area. And so with this, our hopes are to be able to hang veterans banners throughout the entirety of our great city. We have a number of banners that are going to be hung, and we wanted to ensure that we can get up as many as possible, and we think we'll be able to accommodate the 340-plus banners that we're waiting to hang. This is due to the tireless efforts of Mayor Weber, Councilor Rivera, City Manager Blair, City Attorney McSherry, and various city staff as we were trying to figure out how to get this done. As you know, sometimes working through processes takes a little more time than anticipated, but our hopes are that with this final result that the veterans' families are happy with the new locations, given that it's only expanded throughout the entire city. With that, I don't know if any of the co-sponsors want to clarify, but I just, maybe one thing I want to address, just because I know several folks have mentioned this in the past regarding the veterans banners, and a lot of folks, I've heard time and time again that these banners are recognizing folks that willingly went to serve our country, which is absolutely not true. We have many veterans that their banners are going to be hung that served in World War II, many veterans that served in the Vietnam War. 66% of those who served in World War II were drafted. They went and served our country unwillingly. Roughly 30% of the Vietnam veterans served unwillingly. They were drafted. That accounts roughly, for Vietnam alone, that accounts for nearly 17,000 deaths in the Vietnam War. And so I just want to clarify that these banners aren't all folks that willingly went and served our country. A lot of these were given their orders to go serve. And so with that, I'll relinquish the floor to any of my co-sponsors of the amendment.
Thank you, Counselor. Others, Counselor Rivera, you want to speak to it? Others? I would just mention, Counselor Garcia left off one person in your list, and that's yourself. And you have been very instrumental in outreach, in support, in proposing ways to get this done. And it's a team effort, a lot of patience required, setbacks along the way, disappointments, but also unflagging effort to make sure that one way or another this would get done. And so kudos to you as well, sir. You deserve it very much, and thank you for that. Others. We have, yes, Councilor Garcia.
Mr. Mayor, thank you. I just do want to recognize some of the community members that helped with this. The Hometown Heroes organizer, Don Christie. You've got the American Legion commander, Carmela Quintana, and then the rest of the American Legion that helped, and probably most importantly, the veterans' families. They have been a tremendous support to this, so I want to make sure that they're duly recognized as well.
Thank you. Mr. Blair, and then to you, Councilwoman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councilors, just some logistics so we're all working from the same page here. If you drive down Guadalupe right now, you can see the banner that the governor hung out in front of the National Cemetery. We are waiting right now for the first shipment of 147 bracket kits to arrive in Santa Fe, in theory, in the next 5 to 3 business days, so probably at the end of this calendar week or early next week. We will work with P&M to get the first round of 147 banners up. At that point, we are looking at all of our vendors to get them from wherever we can across the country for the remainder of whatever 342 minus 1 minus 147 is. I'll look to you, Councilor Cass, to do that fast math. So they're going to be coming up in shifts and waves, but we're going to get them up as soon as we can. And then just to flag for all of you again that this resolution is specific to this year. And so when I made the decision that we needed to pull down the banners from Cerrillos Road when we were looking at hanging 2 or 3 or more, one of the decisions of the group of veterans I gathered with the Councilors Garcia and Rivera and the mayor and I was to bifurcate the way to resolve this issue. The first was to figure out how fast can we get banners up this year, focus almost laser-like on that, and then look to find a longer-term solution that you all can agree on for future years. So that's it. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. And Councilwoman Villarreal.
Thank you, Mayor. Just wanted to thank my colleagues for taking the time, Councilor Garcia and Councilor Rivera and the mayor, and also John Blair, City Manager John Blair. I think the time you took, it was helpful to kind of get to a place where people understood some of the, miscommunications, things that we needed to solve in order to move forward. And so I appreciate that you took the time to be able to work with community members so that they can understand the complexities or maybe some of the ways that were simple to get this done. And also just wanted to thank the governor for being part of the solution and adding in her, utilizing her executive power to designate Rios and St. Francis as areas that we can utilize. So that's all. Thank you all.
Very good. Thank you. Others? We have an amendment on the floor. Could we call the roll on the amendment?
Yes. Counselor Lee Garcia?
Yes.
Counselor Michael Garcia?
Yes.
Counselor Lindell?
Yes.
Counselor Rivera?
Yes.
Counselor Marworth?
Yes.
Councilwoman Villarreal?
Yes.
Counselor Cassett?
Yes.
Mayor Weber?
Yes.
Amendment has been approved.
So we have the main motion as amended. Councilor Rivera.
Yeah, this is when I was planning to speak, so it was hard to transition from what I had in my mind to do it at the amendment. So, but I just wanted to thank City Manager Blair, the mayor, all the veterans organizations, the veterans themselves. This is a big day for them, and they've been working hard, and not only the service that they provided to our country, but working hard to make sure that if they had a banner up or a family member or just someone that they're friends with that had a banner, they worked hard on behalf of all of them. Mr. Christie, former Councilor Vigil Koppler, who started this initiative, and then especially my colleague Michael Garcia, who really took this on, wasn't looking for any recognition for himself, but just did it because he has so much respect for the veterans in our community and the people in our community. And I got into it a little bit later than he did, so I really respect the work and effort that he put into it before I got involved, and I think probably before the rest of us got involved. And really did a great job, and I know this is a one-year solution, and I'll continue to work with him on a long-term solution, but really want to give him props, really give him kudos for the efforts that he put in, and I'm glad his efforts are in front of us now and really moving forward. So thank you, Councilor.
Thank you, Councilor. Others? Very good. We have a motion as amended. Madam Clerk, you want to call the roll?
Counselor Michael Garcia?
Yes.
Counselor Lindell? Counselor Rivera?
Yes.
Counselor Marworth?
Yes.
Councilwoman Villarreal?
Yes.
Counselor Cassett? Yes. Counselor Lee Garcia?
Yes.
Mayor Weber?
Yes.
Motion has been approved.
Thank you. I believe that completes the agenda for this special meeting, and we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.